you know what was happening. You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer.
God's gonna put a cancer in the butthole. God's gonna put a cancer in the butthole of every sodomite. Every sodomite butthole will get cancer in the butthole. It'll burn and burn and burn. They won't be able to sit down because of the burning in their butthole. You can't sit down.
So yeah, that's this was, by the way, just to kind of give you a little heads up, this was announced in 2022. You know, talks about having the butt cancer, and you know, the media just completely ignored everything. The fact, you know, like I said, I was pulling for the whole dementia thing to come out. I didn't realize this would be like the new thing. I was like, yeah, he announces that he has dementia or something, but no. No, the whole time this went on, you had mainstream media out there pulling the weight of the regime to for the globalist agenda. By the way, we'll talk about that in a second. But you know, dude, check this out. I mean, you know, everybody. I seen the video. I remember when this came out. Media said nothing. Crickets. If this was if Trump said anything, this would have been on the front page of every newspaper. This would have been broadcasted to every Jasmine Crockett. Trump's on that Oxycontin because he got the butt cancer. He's wide open. He ain't even sober. He don't know what he's saying. Stuff like that. It'd be just like, wow, dude. And the fact that Biden can they killed the campaign trail in 2020, or when they were running, when 2019, Biden's running. I don't know, but Biden's running for president, and he says, I get the non-white kids to rub the hairs on my legs. They're like, okay, it's time to pull this back a little bit. We're gonna have Jeeps that honk horns. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to run. We're going to have American flag and Jeeps and ducks on our windshield thing. What is up with that anyways? You know, let's take the doors off. Let's take the doors off. We're going to drink craft beer before we get behind the wheel of our Jeep with the doors off, and we're going to have one foot stick out so that you know our doors are off, and we vote for Biden. Get Bruce Springsteen in here. No, that's Ellen DeGeneres. No, that's Bruce Springsteen. No, yeah, it is. That's Bruce. No, it isn't. It's really Bruce Springsteen? Are you sure? Does Ellen DeGeneres and Bruce Springsteen, are they like just traded off masks? Anyways, does anybody remember when we had the 7-foot tall Biden? Remember that? It's pretty wild. You know, it's even funny because Representative Jim Claiborne says, "Oh man, Biden can so do a 2029 run," and I've got audio of his of this. This is crazy. Check this out.
Friday night, Axios obtained the audio from then President Biden's interview with former Special Counsel Robert Hur, who was investigating Biden's mishandling of classified documents.
This is wild.
In that audio tape, you hear President Biden rambling, unable to keep a train of thought, getting dates wrong. Let's run a little clip of that.
Trump gets elected in November of 2017? 2016. All right. So, why not 2017 here?
That's when you left office, January of 2017.
Okay.
Help me out here.
But that's when Trump gets sworn in.
Right, correct.
A different time in that interview, he's asked about the 2017-2018 period, and he says during that period, his son Beau was either deployed or dying, but Beau was deployed in 2008-2009, and he died tragically in May 2015. Needless to say, even supporters of the president have heard these tapes and been alarmed by it. What was your response to them? Did you see much of that when you had meetings and interactions with President Biden during his term?
No, I didn't. You know, the fact of the matter is, I saw Biden often, but not as often as people seem to think. I talked to him on the telephone very often, and I never saw anything that I thought was outside of the ordinary. I watched my dad reach the age of 80, and I saw him slow down. He couldn't do the same things he did at 50 or 60, but it didn't bother his mental capacity.
You got to be kidding me. how much money has this guy funneled off the Biden regime? Who's he protecting? He says, I'll tote that line. It's really strange how the Republican conservative base back at 250 years ago actually pulled back the whole slavery thing and said, you know what, this whole thing is wrong, man. We need to do away with this. And then the Democrats were like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. We need our slaves. And so they said, well, how can we get our slaves back? And the Democrats are like, I've got an idea. Okay, all right, okay, we're going to totally try to let them forget about the KKK thing that we started. We'll use what we can with media for that. And then Lyndon B. Johnson's like, I know what I do. I get them N-words a whole bunch of money just to get them on the Democrat plantation. That's what Lyndon B. Johnson would say. And he did. Signed that in. He was like, well, but Lyndon B. Johnson, what are we going to do? Well, we got to get rid of that Kennedy guy. Timeline of, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but, like, yeah, let's get rid of Kennedy. Let's get rid of Kennedy. And I'm going to go in there and we're going to give them N-words a lot of money. We're going to get them right back on the plantation. 150 years later, you got Jasmine Crockett going, whatever she's doing. I don't know, but it's just crazy how that works. And, propaganda played a role in that too, but who do you blame for that? I mean, people, come on, man. I mean, did you forget? They burned crosses in non-white people's yards that had land and stuff because they were doing well. And so the KKK said, we're going to intimidate those people. And then, much like we see with the BLM, who just recently, a big BLM activist who was involved heavily in BLM organization just got caught diddling diddlies. They intimidate people, and they're allowed to do it because they go in states where they can do this, and the Democrat attorney generals and judges and magistrates allow this to happen. And they burn down black businesses. It's pretty wild. And the black people are like, yeah, do me more. And I'm like, I don't get this. Biden said the N-word like 75,000 times on congressional records back in the late 70s and 80s. He said N-word all the time. I might be, just N-word this and N-word that. Open on the Senate floor. Like, he's the hero of the black community now. It's pretty wild. I don't get that, but yeah, that's where we're at now. So.
Because of the burning in their butthole, he can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole. God's gonna have a flame coming out of your butthole. If you thought that AIDS was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. Because of the burning in their butthole. He can't sit down. Because of the burning in their butthole. He can't sit down. Flames coming out the butthole. Flames coming out of your butt. Flames coming out the butthole. Flames coming out of your butt. An eternal flame coming out of the butthole of every Saturday. You're going to see the power of God because of the burning in their butthole.